Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, we will be talking about a very large cool down across the Midwest and Central United States that is comparable to a fall, if not a early winter blast of cool air. In terms of anomaly and characteristics, obviously the temperatures won't be that cold. Will no be there won't be any 30s, right? Maybe some 40s actually though across extreme southern Canada into the northern US. We'll be going over that, also just the weather in the next upcoming week, and I do quickly want to also touch on the severe weather that has been going on in the past few days and what happened across my area, notably, as I was there to experience it. But before we do that, if you guys would like to subscribe, consider doing so. A weather channel. If you enjoy that stuff, check out the channel first, obviously, then consider subscribing. And if you're a returning viewer, liking the video helps out. Obviously, comments and concerns you could leave down below in the comment section, the box below. So notice we are looking at the National Weather Service map, and you can see that there are some severe thunderstorm watches, a bit of some flood advisories. For the Midwest, there are a few heat advisories and a few flood advisories towards the south, but generally not too much of a colorful map, and some heat across the west as well. I do want to say that I'm recording this as of 2 a.m. on June 21st. On the 20th and going into the 21st, there was a large severe weather outbreak that occurred on in the Midwest. Lots of severe weather, just hail, winds, the classic stuff. But towards the end of the evening, into almost the overnight, into going into Monday, right there you could see what happened across northern Illinois, Missouri, into Michigan. We just had an explosion of thunderstorms. Now, I actually made a video a couple hours prior to this event right here, and I was explaining why, kind of I was disappointed, not really disappointed, but I was a bit frustrated how inaccurate the first wave forecast was. This was supposed to occur further into Illinois and Indiana, rather it occurred into Michigan. And I was wondering, what implications will that have for the cold front? Will it make it stronger as the atmosphere wasn't worked over? Would it make it weaker? And it was the first, the prior sentence that I said. It made it stronger. This first wave, you could see, exploded as it went into Illinois, into Missouri, eventually into Indiana and Michigan. There was actually a tornado that was confirmed. I had a tornado warning for my location for a while. There wasn't a tornado that materialized, but there was a rotation that went right over my house, my area. So if there were to be a tornado, it would have affected me, which is just way too close for comfort. Yeah, it was definitely one of the scariest nights I had it probably in the last few years. But there was a tornado that did touch down. It did great damage across southern portions of Chicago. So yeah, that is still a developing situation, potentially an EF3, according to some of the damage reports, but most likely EF2. That's the estimate of some meteorologists that were on the scene. So yeah, definitely an interesting event, and it doesn't look like we'll be repeating that in the near future, at least not across these areas. I think there could have been also more tornadoes across the Indiana area, except, again, in the dark of night, it's hard to estimate what exactly happened, but you can see that is pushing towards Detroit. It is weakening, but definitely wind gusts, flood advisor, or flooding is also a possibility, especially since these areas already picked up rain. And if you're to take a look at the Storm Prediction Center, right, so this is what happened, right, and this is into Monday. Notice we have a marginal risk all across the south as this cold front explodes. It will be very widespread, but not necessarily severe. You can see that this doesn't really show a great threat for severe weather, but I mean a ton of cities, more notably Philadelphia, Dallas, Columbus, Austin, Memphis, a large area. And then notice slight all the way up into the northeast, and we do actually have a marginal across Oregon, which is something that isn't really rare, but it's just seemingly a random region. But again, there could be activity there tomorrow as well. This is on Tuesday. Notice several locations, right? One spot here, one across the west, one across the southwest, one across the east, with that remaining cold front across southeast. So yeah, I mean, this was one heck of a night that we just went through here in the Midwest. Obviously, for the folks living elsewhere, let's start talking about the cool off, because again, this is just kind of a local thing. But notice the whole, a lot of people got impacted by the storm system this past few days, and it is right there across the UP into portions of southern Canada. You can see it's strong. It's a rather strong storm system for in the summertime. I mean, you can see these type of systems during the winter. Obviously, there'd be a snowy side, but notice, obviously, that's why the cold front was so powerful. And we have rain now across Nebraska and Kansas. That is definitely good. They need it. It has been a bit drier there as well, but the Southwest needs it the most, unfortunately, but they're not going to get any. So that's what the Storm Prediction Center is showing for next couple of days. Let's start talking about this cool off. So let's start off by looking at the 2-meter temperatures, just to give you a look at the actual 2-meter temperatures. This isn't the feels like. This is what the thermometer reads. So the weather models' guess at what will happen. And notice that today was very warm, or yesterday, Sunday, and now Monday, for those that are watching today, you can see markedly cooler. While these colors look hot, they're only 70s, 60s, and in some locations, look at that, 50s. And during the night, I wouldn't be surprised to see some 40s. And yeah, it looks as if that's exactly what's going to happen. Look at that, 49, no frost, obviously. It's it's June. It's summer solstice just happened. Actually, I think on Sunday, and yeah, it was on Sunday. And notice that maybe very far north we have some frost, but yeah, just very 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 cool. And I mean, for a large area of the United States, notice 60s, 50s, all the way down to the south. Definitely, a lot of people will enjoy that. People that don't want the cool air, well, there's a silver lining for you as well, as this doesn't last for long. Notice by Tuesday, still chilly or pleasant across the Northeast, especially in portions of the Midwest, but the upper plains and the South warm back up. And by Wednesday, we have a very hot pattern across the West, still a bit chilly, or at least more tolerable towards the Great Lakes. Notice we have the West, Oregon, Washington, not in the the horrendous temperatures they've been seeing, but still rather on the warm side. This now shifts towards the Midwest, and this is where we could see another round of thunderstorms, kind of, and again the activity increases. So yeah, Tuesday, Monday will definitely be the nicest days of the week in terms of the temperatures. Otherwise, you can see it's starting to get hot now. At this point, Thursday's warm all across the board. Maybe just the southeast gets kind of in on that cool air, and then Friday you can see that really settles across the south. Very warm towards the north, not hundreds at least, but still 70s, 80s. So no more of that cool air. But the thing is that there could be another cool off, just not as big towards Sunday. You could see this is during the day, pleasant 70s. We don't have hundreds anymore like we did potentially on Thursday and into Wednesday. Look at that. So that could be that. But notice more hot air this time. Again, more hundreds across Montana and the upper plains and the northeast corridor. Look at that, 90s, 80s. So the pattern looks definitely changeable, obviously, but bouts of cool and warm weather. But mainly for most folks, it's going to be on the warmer side. And I do want to show you this anomaly because that may not seem like a large cool off, worthy of calling it fall-like or winter-like. But look at this. Look at this. Ready? Watch this. Look how big that is. That is giant. It's just like a classic cold front. Obviously, that's where the severe weather could be occurring. And voice crack there. Notice this spreads all the way to the south and east. It doesn't get phased by anything, and obviously it doesn't last for long as many things are working against it. But notice it does stick around for quite a while there across the south. But there we have that warm air. Notice there's that little cool off that we could be seeing Sunday, or at least temperatures going back to normal. But look what's waiting for us for the eastern United States in the west. Look at that, 33 degrees above average. So that's not 33 degrees temperature, that's an anomaly from average. And look at that, that just spills towards the east. And yeah, definitely bad news for the Northwest, especially since they will not be really seeing much precipitation. And maybe, those very warm temperatures. So yeah, drought conditions will definitely worsen. At least there is some rain for the eastern United States. But again, the Midwest, upper plains, kind of drying out. Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, definitely not a good thing for those folks. We do have a bit of rain across New Mexico. Again, these forecasts are changeable. Notice the one that came out at noon showed a bit more rain across Washington, right? So it did change a few things up. The one 12 hours prior to that showed more rain across Colorado. But regardless of what it did, it kept, again, the eastern United States more wet than the western U.S. So yeah, I mean, weather pattern changes really quickly, and usually you can't really foresee more than 10 days out. So hopefully there is a bit more activity towards the west, southwest, but unfortunately now it looks to just favor the eastern United States. Let's take a glance at the GFS now, and I want to show you the 2-meter temperature anomaly that this model puts out, which again is rather impressive with that cool off. So here we have our temperatures going into this was Father's Day. It's not loading. There we go. And notice there's that cool off. Look at that. Some of the upper plains areas, again, 20 to potentially 25 degrees below average. Look at that. Very, very, very chilly, especially across areas in southern Canada and Texas. And notice that spills again towards the east. It does weaken, obviously. The heat does catch up eventually, but notice there's another pocket of chilly air, which, again, in some areas is rather significant. That does linger for a bit, keeping some of that very, very warm, hot air towards the west. But unfortunately, that doesn't this cool air doesn't stick around for long, and it does eventually start spreading towards the east and the rest of the United States. But definitely bad news for the Northwest with that heat. However, you can see the GFS does bring in a bit of that chilly air, or at least brings that heat down to a bit of a more tolerable level. So yeah, definitely also an interesting pattern of this GFS shows up. But you can see these cool offs are more like summer like, right? They aren't big like this one we have right now, which is by far going to be the largest one in the near future and probably till the fall. Maybe one in July could bring something like this, but you don't really see such large cool downs. I would probably say late August, early September, when the next time we see such a large drastic cool down. And again, by that time, the pattern will be shifting towards more of a winter regime, so it'll be more acceptable kind of to see that. I mean, this is also acceptable. It's just a bit less likely, right? So, again, if you're to take a look at the 2-meter temperatures, just, kind of what the thermometer will read, yeah, rather chilly compared to what we've been seeing, the heat across the Midwest. Notice, look at those 40s across the upper plains early tonight in the morning hours, and then look during the day. Very, very nice, pleasant temperatures, downright chilly across many locations. And even across the west, the south, or I should say upper plains, and as far west as Texas, we see some generally nice temperatures, but again, the heat is right there across the west is definitely not good. One of the worst droughts they are in, unfortunately. But notice that the Northeast, look at that, on one day, you could just see where that chilly air is. I mean, that is probably has to do something with the cold front that's lingering, the cloud cover, and also the cool air that's getting pummeled down the northeast quarter, and the mountains here are kind of acting as a kind of like a funnel for this cold air. So definitely is gonna be chilly there, or cool for a couple of days. But again, the heat does make a comeback, and you can see it kind of favors the coastal areas, while essentially what stays a bit on the cooler side for a bit longer. Notice the nights could be fairly pleasant, but yeah, towards the longer range, definitely some of that heat getting pretty far to the north, and that heat can be brutal. 90s, 100s, yeah, not good, really. And look at that anomaly right there. 90 degrees across central Canada. That's not really what you want to see when you have 70s across Nebraska. You'd rather see those things flipped. So yeah, that's the GFS on and all the models I kind of wanted to show you. In terms of the short range, in terms of the precipitation, I can show you portions of the kind of the short range models. Let's see what the next 84 hours look like. Again, calmer for the Midwest, but a lot more stormier for the South and the East Coast. Notice that cold front that is developing today falls apart, but by Monday afternoon starts kicking up showers, storms across Indiana, Missouri, Ohio, Tennessee, and all the way up the Northeast coast, all the way into Texas. Again, some severe weather is possible. But look at that, very chilly here, even some snow right there. And okay, notice that we start seeing quite a bit of those showers continue into Tuesday. So yeah, definitely more of a stormy pattern then. But look, even some showers potentially on Wednesday or Tuesday night into Wednesday across the Illinois, Indiana, Iowa area. Nothing too significant, it seems, and maybe more of a quiet pattern following that. But on Friday, we definitely could see a decent storm system moving in effect a good portion of the United States again. So this is the European again. We have that cold front. We have a bit of showers. Generally a calmer pattern. But then look, by Thursday, we see this cold front, stalled out cold front coming from a low pressure, interact with a new area of low pressure, and look, we just see a reinvigoration of storms, showers, and definitely just active weather. And you can see we see more of this pop-up type activity, which usually doesn't amount to much, but definitely could train over the same areas for a couple of days, which could bring some flood risks as well. So that is definitely what the pattern it looks like for now. Yeah, the cool down, a bit of activity across the south and east, obviously the next few days, and that bigger storm on Friday. I could show you the GFS on this website, Tropical Tidbits. I already showed you the model on the previous website, but this on this layout, you can see the cool down is much more easier to see. Look at that. That is something you'd see in fall, not necessarily in June. Obviously nothing rare, but definitely I would say more on the unusual side. And then notice, look at that, like heat right there. That is just that. I just cringe at that, especially since how hot or dry it's been, and the fact that they are already in a drought. That's just a nightmare, and that could be the case for many days. Just goodness, look at that. Wow. Yeah. Hopefully. I mean, it doesn't look. I was gonna say hopefully that doesn't happen, but this isn't even that far out. I mean, 180 hours. It starts at around the 130-hour timeline and ends really maybe going into early July. It's still warm, just maybe not as warm. And notice the rest of the country is kind of going between phases of cool and warmth, especially the central U.S. staying a bit cooler. The Northeast being pretty warm, southern Canada. But yeah, actually, I'm now just at this point really curious to see what some of these temperatures are for the Northwest. These must be pretty close to breaking records. Yeah, look at that. 112, Seattle 82. It's probably a bit of a cooler day. Yeah, look at that. 90, 116. Yeah, okay. 105. Hopefully these don't come true. That would be an absolute nightmare. Yeah, so I honestly I didn't even expect this weather model, GFS, the model run has definitely picked up its intensity of the heat. It's been definitely hinting at it for a while though. So yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen. But I do want to show you quickly the 8 to 14 day outlook and see what the Climate Prediction Center is thinking. So this extends from June 28th through July 4th. And again, it does show that heat across the west. They're pretty confident with that. So that's why they have that. Notice cooler across the south and eastern United States. So that's a bit of a change up, but definitely you'd like to see the opposite. You'd like to see the cool weather across the south, as they're in a drought and the south really isn't. In terms of precip, very vague. You could see that they're not too confident, but generally drier towards the northwest, maybe a bit wetter towards the east, but the confidence is pretty low. 6 to 10 day outlook, so a bit less further out. Look at that. They are more confident in the heat, more confident in a cool pattern. You could see it's kind of like a mimicking of each other, just on different sides, where you have an extreme warm up. You also have a cool down. You could see it's a bit less confident on the cool down, and that will definitely take the headlines, and rightly so. In terms of precip, a bit drier across the upper plains and the northwest, and wetter towards the south and east, which really, again, isn't that good of a thing. This is what the 3 to 4 week outlook shows, which goes from July 3rd through the 16th of July. These aren't really usually too accurate, but they do sometimes give a good look at what could come in. You can see they're favoring above average temperatures, mainly for the northern U.S., while chillier towards the south, which again is actually rather unusual, but probably the worst combination. Now, this is the forecast for July. That I wanted to quickly show you what the Climate Prediction Center thinks will happen for July. Notice they're favoring heat across the west, the northeast, not that much across the south, potentially even cooler. And notice in terms of precip, wetter towards the south and east, drier towards the north and west, and everywhere in between, kind of a throw. Possibly could lean either direction. So definitely not good news for the drought, and that's actually a very, very concerning pattern. Yeah, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something new. Stay safe, and I will catch you all guys on the next episode. See ya.